Hi, Katlin.
Hi, Jocelyn.
It's really great to be with you and to welcome everyone to what we're calling Big Talks. I was thinking, why am I trying to do this? There's just so many amazing newsletters and blogs and podcasts, and do I really need to add to the noise? But I was remembering some things from my life in New York, and one in particular was I had joined for a time an organization called Gather the Women. And it was 1985. There was a World Conference on Women that the UN was sponsoring in Nairobi. And Gather the Women put out a call for money to help women from small African communities attend. And I thought, well, I don't have the money. Maybe I can raise it. I didn't know how to do an event, but I decided to have a party with a silent auction. And I got friends and students who were artists and who did various things to donate. And we raised some money. I don't even remember how much, but I sent it off. And months later, I received a letter. And it was 16 or 18, I can't remember. Women were able to attend with this money. And my vision, my goal, my whole life has been that everybody should have the power of their own voice in this life. And what they wrote in the letter was that politicians and NGOs had been visiting them their whole lives and saying they would go back to government or whatever and speak on their behalf. But for the first time, they were able to go and use their own voices and speak their own truth. And I was, of course, verklempt. I still get verklempt when I think about it. When you state a purpose like that, you have no idea how it's going to be realized. But there it was. And so I thought, okay, I still want us all to have our voice. And that doesn't mean listening to an influencer or somebody famous. That means being in our own deep conversations. And then as I was thinking about how to structure it, I remembered a new moon circle that I attended. And in the indigenous moon circles, everybody speaks. The children, the elders, the movers and shakers, everybody gets to speak. And the circle lasts as long as it lasts until everyone has had their opportunity. There's no crosstalk. There's no commenting on one another's shares. Everyone sits in silence and listens. And when their time comes, if they're moved to say something, they do. And if they're not, they pass. And I remember one time a woman shared that Great Spirit had given her these artworks to do. And she wasn't an artist, but every time she got a vision, she went and learned how to do it. And she needed help to put this in the world. And so at the end of the circle, I gave her my business card. And I said, I don't know if I can help you, but I know some people who know gallery owners and stuff. I'll make the introductions. So we met and I made the introductions and somebody showed her art. She had an exhibit. And for me, it's just about being in community, and sometimes something happens. And so what I'm hoping we're going to offer here is a space not for dumping our bucket. That's not big talk. But for centering ourselves, being together, and listening for what we feel called to bring in this time of transformation. And maybe we don't know exactly, but maybe it will start with a conversation. And so I don't want us to be trying to solve each other's problems. It's not therapy. I would like for us to, I hear a lot of hopelessness, a lack of faith in the process of life as it's unfolding right now. And I have a deep faith and conviction that it's unfolding inside of us and we have gifts. And the reason we're here at this moment in time is because our gifts are wanted and needed. And my vision is that in this coming together, we can get the support we need. We can dream together with one another because of one another. And so that's what I'm imagining going on here, Katlin. How are you feeling about that?
It's beautiful. There's so many things that come up for me as I'm listening to you. And when we were talking about putting this together, we were talking about this idea of listening. And I think that it's with all of the noise that we're living through in this era, it becomes maybe a little boring to listen. And we talked about that. And do you have anything to say about this idea of how listening is a seed for cultivating hope?
First of all, it's active, not passive. And it's not about formulating our own ideas. It's about allowing someone else's energy and ideas to inspire us, not to bring what we've been carrying, but to open into something new. And so we've been listening. And I don't know about you, but I feel like a lot of wonderful and great ideas are shared by a lot of us. And so if I read a book and I get one really new, profound idea, I think it's been a great book. You know, it's hard to generate and be really creative. When we're listening, it's to try to be so receptive that we can actually turn off the volume. And then when there's an opening, if we really feel called, whatever wants to come from our memory or from our dreaming or from our hope, whatever wants to build on what's going on, will arise and there will be a moment to speak it. And I always think if I don't get to speak it, it's okay. I already had the idea. And I get to take away the richness of 10 or 12 other people speaking, maybe next time.
Another thing that comes to mind as you're saying that is the idea of a pause. Pauses they can be uncomfortable. And yet, as you say, they're also very enriching.
Yeah, and I think you and I might be able to hear or sense when we just need to all get still a little bit. You would sense that in, again, the indigenous circles. Sometimes they just create space and you just sit and listen to the heartbeat drum. And what's important about pause and silence and space is not if you're good at it. It's a little bit like a yoga posture, it's not about doing the posture, it's about meeting what comes up in you. Do you feel impatient? Do you feel like I've got a million things to do and I'm sitting here? Do you feel sad? Do you feel hopeful? Do you feel like you need to push? Do you need to pull back? The silence, there's no recipe. It's not what it's supposed to be, it's what it is. It's about meeting ourselves and meeting one another in it.
And honoring that. That's tough, right? Sometimes this stuff comes up that's not that easy. But as we were just saying before we started recording, we don't evolve when things are easy.
Yeah, we like it when we're comfortable. Creation likes it when we're learning. I think another thing about these big talks is, as I said earlier, it's not therapy. So if something comes up that doesn't belong in the circle, our opportunity will be to find out where it does belong and to be in. If someone is breaking down and having a huge emotional release, that's what they need to do. It's fabulous. You may even need to leave the circle at that point in time. But I think it's important to establish that the circle can't hold that. We honor it, we bless it, and we will hold in our intentions that you're going to get all the help you need.
We're definitely a species that loves to fix things. And we love to fix things that are, in particular, when they're uncomfortable. And what you're just saying makes me think that in some spaces, this one included, fixing is not the mandate. And it's often not supportive. It's often not helpful to try to fix people's problems for them.
Two things come up for me in response to what you just said. One is a friend who always used to say, we're not here to steal each other's lessons. And then the other thing is that everything works for somebody and nothing works for everybody. And if we're too free with our advice and suggestions, and somebody takes them and they don't work, they end up feeling worse. And so rather than giving advice, we just hold and say, this is precious. We really honor it. We're not qualified. Would you like to put in the chat some questions about where you might get help? And rather than telling you how to fix it, people might have some places for you to go.
I think it's exponentially more helpful and is challenging. In particular, as women, we want to be helpful, and we're always only ever operating from our own experience.
Yeah.
And if something has worked for us, then there's a deep held belief that it works. But as you said, what works for me is not going to work for everyone.
And I loved what you said about us being fixers, because I think you've heard me talk also about the long arc of time. We have DNA, we have input from ancestors. We are conditioned in our pre-conscious years to survive in our family, our religion, our community. We're taught what we need to know, and we absorb it without question. And that allows us to go through phases of our development until we are equipped to start standing and saying, I got some different ideas here. And so part of what we're working on, we tend to take things so personally and we just want to fix them so that then we can be better and get on with it. But part of what we're doing is working on something that's intergenerational, and it's part of a bigger evolutionary process. And so I envision a big talk circle also being a way of learning patience, of being open to having a mission that's longer than our own life.
Mm.
And that as we're in this time of really global transformation, everybody says it's unprecedented. Maybe the solutions are far down in the future. That shouldn't make us disbelieve our own offerings right now. And it shouldn't make us feel hopeless or overwhelmed or doubt the process of life to sort itself out.
I love that because it really takes the pressure off. And I think we put so much pressure on needing to come to meet our epitaph with something profound, right? And that is a lot of pressure. And so when we can say we are working towards an evolution rather than a final goal and moving the evolution in the direction that we believe is of higher service, then we just keep moving forward without the defeat of not meeting some goal.
Right. Yeah. Beautifully said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Was there something coming?
no, no.
Okay. That was just a delicious example of a pause. You said, and we gave each other time.
And it's interesting that was the what do I do to fill the gap now? And then the gap was the pause. No words.
Mm-hmm.
No words needed.
Yeah. You know, I feel really uplifted to have had this time with you this morning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's the again. I'll keep catching it. This is going to be a beautiful space, and I think it's needed. I believe that we're really longing for spaces. What do you think about that?
I think so too. This is what I hear. I like to have dinner parties, and one of the things people say is they love the conversation. They love the conversation. And I just always tend to go off to what I call big talk. And we are longing for it. We have a lot of conversations about the busyness and stuff of life, and they're wonderful. And I keep hearing that. You go for coffee, and it's like, oh, this was such a good conversation. Let's get together again. That longing for that intimacy, the vulnerability, the permission.
And a container.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think in this day and age, containers are essential. Conversation doesn't happen naturally, automatically. There aren't as many opportunities, whether it's because of the distraction or the way that we've the way that our culture has evolved, which is, we know, very isolated in so many ways. And so having more containers is really valuable.
I agree. And I talk about lonely questions. It's not that we can answer for each other, but when we're together, we realize somebody else is looking too. Somebody else is grappling with a lonely question too. Somebody else is longing to bring things forward and to have the resources and the capacity to attract the resources to spend their gifts to make the difference that they're here to make.
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah.
So shall we end it here? We said,
Yeah. I think so. I think this feels really good. I feel complete. Do you?
yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Wonderful.
Yeah, beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for initiating this. And I'm excited to have more people come into the big talk circles, as you say.
Take good care. Go off to what I call big talk. And we are longing for it. We have a lot of conversations about the busyness and stuff of life, and they're wonderful. And we're living and raising children and supporting elders and doing all of these things. We need a larger perspective, a sense of faith, and a sense that somebody is in it with us. Not in the moment to moment care, but in the spirit of love and healing and transformation. I keep hearing that. You go for coffee and it's like, oh, this was such a good conversation. Let's get together again. That longing for that intimacy, the vulnerability, the permission.
And a container.
Mm-hmm.
I think in this day and age, containers are essential. Conversation doesn't happen naturally, automatically. There aren't as many opportunities, whether it's because of the distraction or the way that the way that our culture has evolved, which is, we know, very isolated in so many ways. And so having more containers is really valuable.
I agree. And I talk about lonely questions. It's not that we can answer for each other, but when we're together, we realize somebody else is looking too. Somebody else is grappling with a lonely question too. Somebody else is longing to bring things forward and to have the resources and the capacity to attract the resources to spend their gifts to make the difference that they're here to make.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So shall we end it here? We said,
Yeah. I think so. I think this feels really good. I feel complete. Do you?
yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Wonderful.
Yeah, beautiful.
Thank you.